Hello everyone, hope you're well, you're smelling great and enjoying your favourite fragrances today. And this is what we're going to be opening. It is Terre de Hermès Eau de Parfum Intense. Hello, so here we are, Terre de Hermès Eau de Parfum Intense. Now, as I may have mentioned in previous videos, Terre de Hermès was perhaps the turning point. The original, the EDT, was a turning point for me, and what leads to now right into my passion for collecting fragrance. Up until that point, I'd been, a casual. I did like fragrance. I many from my youth and teens, adulthood. No, not ones that captivated me to such an extent that it lit something inside me to actually how one can bottle such an awesome fragrance, and then when it's out that bottle unleashed onto one, that one can smell so great. So I do owe a lot to Terre de Hermès, the original, and yeah, it's forever in my heart. It is a passion. It did spark off a passion. I'm very favourable to that, to the point where the recent PDM Perseus release was just really left a bad taste in my mouth, because it was just a clone, essentially a clone. And yeah, I expect more from a niche house when they're cloning designer fragrances. So yeah, anyway, not going to go into that. I might save that rant for another video. Though, do not own the parfum, believe it or not. I did try it. I wore it once, and it didn't captivate me to the point where I felt it necessary to replace it. I have a real fondness for the original. I did like Eau Givray, and I have missed that a few times on good deals. It's getting harder and harder to get now for me when I've been looking into it. Though this, I tried it, I bought it actually in Bangkok. It was 5,100 baht, which equates to about 125 English. They had an offer on, and it was a case of if you spend X amount, you get 20% off. I looked at it online, and in England it worked out something like £100. This worked out at £98 or something. So for the sake of coming back to England, waiting and ordering it and going for the 200ml for £150, I just thought I'd buy it. And the reason why is I didn't wear this. I tested it on the tester strip, and to me, it actually, I was like, whoa, a fragrance hasn't impacted me like that for a while. I just thought, wow, this is, for me, phenomenal. So we'll get into it. Again, it's the duty-free one, isn't it? It's not always cheaper at duty-free. I was quite a few things I was looking at buying, particularly in Bangkok, and I was checking them online, and they're far cheaper in England. They're even at retail cheaper in England. So duty-free is not always duty-free, certainly not in other countries anyway. So that was the opening, in case you missed it. It is refillable. It is, well, there you go, nice little orange there. So the Hermès orange rather. And this is the bottle. A little beauty, isn't it? Clear, bold, sharp edges, stainless top, little H on the bottom. Can't see any batch number code. It's probably on there though. Yeah, it has got the batch code right along there. It's very hard to read. Right, so Not smelling anything. Let me know if anyone else does that. Actually, I have to line the atomizer out with the front of the Ryan for some reason, front of the bottle. Nothing smelling on that. So this is going to be my first one, not my first smell of this. And as many people are aware, smelling it on the tester strip isn't necessarily how it smells on skin. So I'm hoping it translates similarly. Right, so now the reason why I didn't hesitate with getting this is part of the reason why certain fragrances I just really gravitate towards. Now, I was expecting but I don't really know what I was expecting actually. I think I wasn't expecting this. That's for definitely sure. I was expecting something more. If anything, I'd have thought it'd, like quite often they do now, amp up the freshness, the citruses. Get a like bland vetiver in there, just make it more accessible than the original, because the original is quite polarizing. I believe it is a very, very gentlemanly, statement making, bold fragrance, and not necessarily for everyone. And that's probably why Perseus is quite successful in many levels, because it sort of dialed that down and made it more like an accessible, more like a teeny fragrance, whereas the original was certainly gentleman all day. That's my air freshener. Right, not that I need one in this house. I don't know why I bother. It's like a perfumery. So anyway, back to this. So wasn't expecting this, and now the thing that initially hit me, now I don't know what it is, I haven't checked the notes on this, is it's very smoky. It's smoky, almost incensey. Now, though it is, let me try and put this into words. Yeah, the smokiness and incensiness of this is very, very distinguished. Yeah, it is. It's there. It's almost like an Enwage type incensey vibe. However, it's slightly toned down. It's above entry level. So it's almost expecting one's cultivated a like for that type of note. Now, me, the first time I smelt this, it was like straight into me. Our factory system, this is for me. It didn't matter whether I was buying it then or whenever it was going to be bought. It just was. Now, there's big differences with this and the original. This has hardly got any citrus opening. It's there, though it's almost like that's way in the back, if not even just there to just as a like, remember me from the other one, though, you know, you're almost forgetting that it was there. This is just so incense heavy, and I can see this being a little bit polarizing in many respects, because it isn't like the original, and my experience, the limited experience with the Parfum, this isn't really anything like the Parfum. I can't recollect any similarities from the Parfum to this. There may be, and the people that have really, worn that Parfum and are familiar with it may be able to pull them out. Okay, I'm not even gonna try and guess what's in this. well, actually, there is a tiny bit of citrus. I mean, a nitnoy bit of citrus. I imagine there's some wood in that, and I imagine there's some incense, possibly vetiver, though if there is, it's a small amount. Let's have a look. Okay, so yeah, it's a brand new one, 2025, and Christine Nagel developed it. Maybe the nose behind this. It's very limited on the notes in this. The top notes are bergamot and black pepper. I believe the original is grapefruit, so there's a difference there. And that bergamot's really not, it's almost really negligible even to notice it. It's almost like, it's like a little sweetener to get you into the depth of this. This is dark, this is earthy, this is incensey. The other top notes, black pepper. The middle notes are coffee and licorice. Now, I didn't know that, I wouldn't know that. Trying to pick them out now. I get a vague licorice, not really anything to do with the coffee. I'm not picking up, and to be honest with you guys, I'm really glad coffee in a fragrance, if it's done too synthetically, it really has that headache effect on me. So yeah, we're really pleased I'm not picking that up. Now, the base notes are woody notes, lava and stone. Make of that what you will. You can, it definitely smell woodiness in this, and it's almost like a burnt wood. It's like a burnt like rosewood in a way, or a cherry wood. It's you know, this doesn't smell like cherry, but it's almost like it's like a aromatic wood that's been burnt. There's no list of incense, which does surprise me actually, because maybe it's the black pepper. It really does have that feel, that incensey feel, in a nice, really well done, finely blended way. Lava, no idea what that smells like. It's usually sulfuric, is it? Lava tends to be. There's nothing to do with sulfur there. And stone. Smells of stone. Which is an odd note to put in a fragrance. Let's have a quick look on here. So the olfactory, this is on their website, the Hermès website. Terre de Hermès Eau de Parfum Intense is a deep woody fragrance that combines fiery bergamot with burning wood and the mineral notes of intense lava stone. So is that the lava stone after it's dried? Yeah, and the minerals perhaps in that, and it does have an earthy feeling. It feels like it does actually feel like burnt wood. If you can imagine, perhaps say something like a lava flow and it's burnt the trees, everything in its wake. This is the feeling that conjures up that type of picture. It's earthy with burnt wood, like minerally, with a faint bit of citrus just to get you into that. Yeah, marvellous work of art this. I've just watched the video on the Hermès site for the story behind this actual fragrance. Just a short 2-minute video with the perfumer Christine Nagel. The way she was describing it and the passion, it's almost like bringing one to tears, that someone can be so inspired and creative, particularly honouring the original with that in mind, because it's a big task to try and improve or go above the original. I don't believe any of the others have come near it. That's just my feelings. Even Eau de Frais, the Parfum and the Intense Vetiver, they're good. They do not get me. I'm not berating any of those, though none of them have come near the original in my mind and how I feel about the fragrance. This, when I smell this, it's like wow, because it's a totally different direction. It really is. Yet it honours the original in such a way. Dior have tried to do this, and I think they probably failed to a lot of die-hard people, and they've tried to do it with their new Parfum and the 2025. Compared to the original, the perfumer tried to take it in a different direction, and by doing that, it's almost like I don't mean this in a mean way, it's almost like they disrespected the original to what lovers of the original would have liked to have seen. Now, great, he tried a different direction, and it probably would have been done better if they hadn't named it after the original. If it had been its own fragrance in its own right, fine. This is no disrespect to the original at all, even though it's a completely different fragrance. I've smelt a few fragrances here. We're only in March, and there's 2 designer fragrances, and this is one of them. For me, it's probably fragrance of the year, and we're only in March. I mean, don't get me wrong, we've got a long time to go, though. I haven't had an experience with a fragrance like this for a long time. Now, this is just first impressions. I can sort of only feel this would improve with time. It's yet to macerate. So come back to this 3 months time, I feel this would be deeper and richer and more woodier. Phenomenal. I'm really going to look into this perfumer now and see what else they do. I liked her energy. I liked the passion she had and the respect she had for the original. And yet to turn it around and take it in a completely different direction. This is going to be on my wear list for quite some time. Occasion, where can I get this? Where would I wear this? It's certainly, perhaps for me, it's a, one would say this is autumn, winter, spring, because of that deep darkness. I'd wear this in the summer just to see what it's like, though it doesn't screech of, certainly not summer day vibes, perhaps, cool summer evenings. Personally, this is a fragrance I probably really wouldn't layer with it with anything, because I feel this is like a really finely crafted fragrance in itself, that it doesn't need any addition, just needs the right occasion. What is the concentration actually? It's eau de parfum, so it's not parfum, so it's eau de parfum. Be interesting to see longevity on this. I guess, just going off first thing, I'd probably say 5-6 hours. Doesn't feel like a beast. The original for me it's an all-dayer for an EDT. It's one of the strongest EDTs I've known. It really clings to me and just hangs on. Get it on clothes and it's over. This is a lot more subtle. I don't feel this is going to be a big projector. Possibly. I don't feel there's a big sillage with it. Maybe. It's a bit difficult to tell because it's quite close. It's that earthy feel. It's almost like grounded to a gravity. The gravity is oneself. So yeah, this is so intriguing. It's got me really thinking on a few. Not many fragrances do that. It's a little like, 'cause my passion is film. That's me all over. This reminds me of one of those films that when one goes to the cinema to watch, and there's so much going off in it, and it ends, and then for the next 3 to 4 days it still has one thinking about the film and trying to work it out and what did that mean. That's what this does for me mentally. Wow, anything that can do that to me is a triumph, and I don't doubt it's to do with the passion the person put into this. So yeah, well done to Christine Nagel. Now let's have a look. Longevity said moderate, long lasting. So yeah, I'd sort of, for me, I'd probably, it's around that 5 to sort of 8 hour ballpark on my skin. That's how it feels. Sillage moderate, yeah. So I don't feel this will leave a massive trail. It's more male. it feels incensey, woody and smoky. So yeah, female could pull that off, though it would probably have to be a certain occasion. I think something like a rock gig or a concert something like that would be ideal. A woman could pull that off in that type of setting. If it's an intimate affair, date or stuff, yeah, perhaps not. Okay, price. Well, 150 English pounds for 200ml on the Tino. That was a bit of a... When I bought this, I was aware that I'm now sacrificing... I could get another 100ml of this for £50. Yeah, whereas now if I want to buy it again, I've got to pay £100. So I was aware of this. They had to buy it. It was right. No, this needs to be in the collection, and it needs some serious wearage. So yeah, and if it comes to I'll have to put some extra hours in at the office. But yeah, buy another one. So let's have a little look at what people are saying then. I enjoyed this one. Slightly different take on the original. Heavy and deep citrus. Almost like a blood orange. So they got a citrus out of it. For me, it was just like a whiff. It was like, they're gone. And even then, it had to fight against the smokiness, the incensiness, that... what I now know as lava stuff. And thinking about it, that incensiness might actually be to do with the licorice. When watching that video, they used real licorice root, so perhaps that might have a licorice and a pepper combined. As I mentioned earlier, I think this might be polarizing, and this, I'm going to read this because I've just seen the end of their score and they give it a 3 out of 10. I cannot imagine a world where I like this fragrance. 3 of my friends and I tried this yesterday, and not one single one of us like this. Unbearably sharp spices that tickle my nose in a bad way. I can detect the citruses, but I cannot get past the coffee lava spice barrier. An absolute monstrosity of a fragrance. You see, that's the difference for this. It will be polarizing, and if you're expecting freshy and if you want that sporty out the shower vibe, go away. It's not for you. It's not going to happen. It is that. And if you like that type of scent, this is to me, this is a work of art. It really is. This is why I like perfumery, and yeah, to others it's it's disgusting, and that's fine. It's all right. No right or wrongs in this. I like this better than the OG Terre simply because the bitter orange was always a turn off for me. This keeps the classic OG feeling but loses the citrus aspects, which I never liked in the OG. The problem is the juice doesn't perform so well so far. I only tried it once on my forearm. I don't smell any real coffee note. I didn't smell coffee note, and I do believe this won't be as a bigger performer as the original. I'm not sure it was. It might be bitter orange in the original. I think my mind always thought it was a grapefruit. Maybe that's OG. Anyway, see, it's so subjective, and it could be down a batch. I don't know. This person's saying opens up quite harshly with coffee, although I was afraid that was the tester in the shop which went bad. Then it turns into something related to other Terre line, but finishes being a younger brother of H24. Odd mix, but somehow works for me. After I get through this opening, which I'm not really fond of. Okay, the opening can be, again, a polarizer. It really wasn't what I was expecting, not compared to other Terre de Hermès. I was expecting that full-on citrus blast. Didn't happen. Not worthy of the hype, in my opinion. Serious burnt coffee accord, like instant coffee from the get-go, and no let-up. Luckily, the fragrance doesn't last long, maybe 2 hours tops. And a complete failure. Doesn't share the DNA of its predecessors. Glad I didn't blind buy. Okay. This is the thing. Do you want just a remake of the original with a couple of tweaks? A little like an iPhone or a Samsung. Every year they bring one out and they'll just change the packaging a little bit, put an extra bezel on it, there'll be a new app or something. Not enough to revolutionise the phone. If one buys an Apple or a Samsung, 5 years later, then there's been enough adaptations then to almost totally change the phone and what you previously had. You can do that. You can bring a flanker out every year with just a little note change, this and that, or one can go back to the drawing board and go, right, okay, now let's recreate this from the ground up. And not only that, let's not have the original in mind, but let's go somewhere else for this. Let's almost like reinvent it. So I don't want a fragrance where one note's been changed and I've just paid out £90 and it's similar, a little like Profumo and the Parfum of Acqua di Gio. Just change a note and then, cash in on just one note change. I want something in a new direction. I want something with a different style. I want something bold. I want something adventurous that, right, let's try this. Let's sort of break the mold. And I think this does that. And if you're expecting the original or anything like the original from this, then it's not going to happen. It isn't like that. I like it. I wasn't expecting that. It's something that you will not see in designer releases nowadays. For me, the original Terre has been copied a lot and it was not impressing me anymore. This one, more interesting, is like mixing Dior Sauvage Elixir with original Terre. Not for boys. It's definitely a gentleman's scent. Exactly, in a way, he's just said what I've said. If you want those designer releases, this is the thing. That's what I suspected with the last few iterations of the Terre de Hermès line. They're all killers, though they're just sort of changed. And there's so many people that have jumped onto the Terre de Hermès DNA. So, yeah, it gets oversaturated then, whereas now it's like, right, try and emulate this. This is a standalone fragrance. It is what it is. It's bold, it's daring, and great. It's got its balls out. Well, I don't know if that's great. If Jean-Claude Alino were dead, he'd be turning in his grave. I hate it. I don't like it. Super interesting. I need to try this more. It's a no for me. This reminds me of the first perfume I tried to make. Overpowering, rough, and something I can't quite place my finger on. A colleague remarked it smelled like Axe body spray. That's some nice Axe body spray you've got there, then. This is unique. There's nothing I've smelled like this, other than there's a vague hint to homage, and that's due to that incensiness. That's it. There ain't. I don't know of any other, certainly not designer houses that are doing anything like this. Yeah, it does deviate. It totally deviates. Great. That deserves more credit. That they're not just chucking out another generic copy. I think this is one of those ones that, as time goes on, people will start to appreciate a little more. It's a little like the oud note in the West here. It's not that prevalent, and people are quite often put off it. Certainly when I've worn ouds, some of the reactions I've wear some real heavy ouds sometimes. It's something the nose has to come accustomed to over time. Myself, I had to get used to it. And I think this is what this is like. It's going to take a little bit of getting used to. I've noticed now with certain fragrances, and even the designer houses now, they are bringing in the note oud. I was in a local shop the other day and there was a new one, I can't remember the release, though it had oud in, and I thought, here we go. They're now introducing Western market to ouds. This is one of those ones, I don't believe this type of fragrance has been introduced much into Western mainstream yet. It's one that I feel will become more distinguished in time, and this does have that timeless classic feel to it, like the original. This does have classic masterpiece written all over it. I'll go out on a limb and say that it just struck a chord with me. And it's one of those ones, a little like the original. It's like, you wear this one for you. I've said it before, I don't wear fragrances for compliments. I don't believe this would be a massive compliment getter in that you smell nice. I feel it might get a bit of attention. What's that you're smelling? That's like interesting. To anyone who didn't like it initially, I'd say come back to it. Try it a little later. The sharpness, that incensiness, I can smell it here, is not here now. So whatever that is in the area, I think it is licorice. It is. It's a licorice pepper combo. I can see why that person said it was a little like Sauvage Elixir, licorice and pepper. Hated it to start with. Now I'm convinced this will rise through the TDA ranks and become a firm favourite. Nothing like I expected. I'm kind of glad. A truly modern interpretation. Nothing like Sauvage Elixir either. Yeah, I wonder when someone was going to say that, because quite often on Organica everything smells like Sauvage. It is nothing like Sauvage Elixir. It does share a commonality. There is licorice and there is pepper. Yeah, so the notes that are within Sauvage Elixir, though it is nothing like it. And I'm pleased to read that person's quotes, because that is exactly how I feel. That this, give it a chance. This is a mature fragrance. It's not like a childish. It needs that chance to be, I guess, appreciated. It's not an easy accessible one if you're used to just freshy or sweet fragrances. It needs that time to develop on one. This is very, very similar to Killian's Smoking Hot. This new Hermès is very nice, but not a freshie, yeah. It's very licorice forward and with earthy elements, and I like it. The worst scent I've ever smelled. Disgusting. Yeah, one can say that about any scent. If you don't like it, yeah, that's absolutely spot on. I do get the licorice and the lava note is smouldering the entire life of the fragrance, and it's lightly smoky off my skin. Insane stuff. Best release of 2025 so far. So I'm really pleased to hear I'm not on my own with those thoughts, because there was part of me feeling like, am I going a bit over top with this? It's like, yeah, I'm just glad there's some people that should have shared that there's a shared similarity there with how I feel. It's always reassuring. The opening I really didn't like, as I don't like coffee licorice scents, but once the dry down goes away, this stuff is amazing. Credit to the perfumer and Hermès for allowing her to express herself more. Great stuff. And I couldn't have said it better, my friend. I doubt any master perfumers are watching my vids. However, if they are, brilliant. Really challenge oneself. Go out there. This is what the fragrance world needs. More people taking a risk rather than just regurgitating the same old stuff. No, just no. So someone here just saying basically, so far, this is easily the best release of 2025. So It's my thoughts. This and another, I'm not going to spoil the other. It is a designer. Anyway, I'll save that, because otherwise this video is going to be long. Disgust at first spray. I don't know who or why someone will want to smell like that, but stay away from me. Dry down is not much better either. I feel like the entire Terre Hermès line is not great. I wonder what that person wears in. This is a departure from the line doing its own thing. It opens up with a mixture of citruses and licorice with the coffee in the back, and the dry down is interestingly giving me hints of the old Terre. This is an instant love for me. Brilliant. Same here. As soon as I smell on the strip, it's like, wow, flipping, just yes. I've got a fair few bottles to open that I've had for a while that have just been sitting there. Though I couldn't just sit on this, keep it there. I had to open this and share it with you guys, and so I can get into wearing it. They're all sealed, so until I open them and do like a short vid, that they stay sealed. They are very weak and inspired. Laying the worst Terre flanker by Nagel. No projection, no sillage, sits close to the skin. Dry down taken from Voyage EDT. Big disappointment, at least for me. Again, one doesn't need to have all that beast modey and stuff. Sometimes I just like a comfortable fragrance for me, and this is what that is. It's an understatement. It's a gentlemanly understatement. Confident, self-assured person that really don't need to let people know who they are. Awful synthetic mess. This doesn't come across synthetic to me, fortunately. And again here, Blaster Coffee, synthetic sweet, nothing like the original. It's atrocious. And this is the thing with coffee. Now, if you've got a coffee heavy batch, for me, coffee always comes out synthetic, and if it's too much, it will give me a headache. And fortunately, this hasn't got that coffee within it. This batch, whatever it is. It doesn't, certainly, I don't pick it up in the way that I have in other fragrances. I'm pleased, otherwise perhaps I'd have shared that same sentiment. Okay, Hermès takes its flankers seriously and the gel is underrated. They do. I've got to say, it's like the H24 line. They're bold and different, that H24 vibes. It wasn't for me, but I really respect that, where they went with that. I'd not smelled anyone else like that. Perhaps a couple of Xerjovs, the odd Xerjovs. Yeah, I don't even have to smell this to know it's rubbish. Oh no, hope you can survive this. Another perfume joke, no relation to the original, big note. Yeah, good it's not related to the original. Great, and it would just be original. For me, it's Dior Homme 2020, sweet coffee, good release, pleasing, and a bit less versatile than the OG. Wore it once. Someone asked if I was wearing Narciso Rodriguez. An absolute no! Why they call this Terre intense? Terre Baccarat clubbing garbage would be more appropriate. I won't wear this clubbing. I just would not wear this clubbing. It's not got that profile for me. Thank you so much. A lot of beautiful memories with Memoir d'Homme, Nina Ricci. For all the fans of the sadly discontinued Memoir d'Homme, Nina Ricci, this one is very similar. In fact, was made by the same nose. Okay, yeah, there are similar things. I've just not smelled anything like it. So yeah, Loving the Stone, Lava Note, a masterpiece. Do you know what? I'm going to leave it on that note. I do feel the longevity for this, it's probably not going to be too long. It's really calmed down. That incensiness, that's quite interesting because that's in the opening and it seems to have really calmed down now. It's almost like dissipated, and I generally expect that from a citrus that does that, not that woody incensiness. Yeah, I think I've said all I can about this. I'm stop gushing now. Yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. Again, there's no rights and wrongs with this. It is what it is. If you like it, great. If you don't like it, great. It's fine. Move on. Plenty more fragrances out in the world. So, alright then, with that, I'll leave it, and thanks for spending this time with me, and I wish you all the best. Please continue creating value in your lives and environment. Bye for now.